But they've already given themselves a tough task because now it's like, okay, so Batman is going to exist over here, meaning we're probably going to have to hire another Batman. Then there's two Batmans. And Henry Cavill just came back as Superman, but he's now out, so ignore that because we're going to go get Simon the Bull A-hole here, although you never know because I've got my hat back on again today, or maybe this is the first video you've seen me with a hat. I mean, I don't want to bore you with this stuff, but it's so cold in the UK and you can't put your heating on because you have to basically give them an arm. I like my arm. I use it to lift weights. However, even though we just talked about fitness, we are going to go on a bit of a tangent today because sometimes I just want to talk about stuff that I'm passionate about, and given that I do have a mini platform and nobody will watch this anyway, I decided I wanted to do it. So, woke up this morning and there was an Instagram post from Henry Cavill who said, even though I've only just come back as Superman, spoiler, he was in the post-credit scene for Black Adam where he confronted Black Adam himself, he's out. That's right. He was back as Superman for 3 minutes, or however long that scene lasted, and now obviously James Gunn, who has taken over the DC universe, whatever you want to call it, has decided, nope, we want to go in a different direction. Now, James Gunn has talked about this, because they have some sort of treatment that they are doing that does include Superman, but it's a younger Superman, so therefore they don't feel like they can use Henry Cavill, which means some brand new actor, probably Zac Efron, it's always Zac Efron, is going to be cast as Superman. And in that sense, I do totally get it. I think the problem that we do have is that once again, this is just DC. They're not dropping the ball because it's not James Gunn's fault. But when you go through the DC universe and you compare it to the Marvel universe, it's still baffling to me that they didn't just copy that verbatim. Just do what they're doing and try and integrate the same things. And I guess they kind of did because you had Wonder Woman and you had Batman versus Superman, I suppose, but that movie is difficult. And it all led into the Justice League and we had Aquaman. But didn't that come out after Justice League? I can't remember. But none of it ever felt cohesive. And there's just been so many issues. Like the whole Robert Pattinson Batman, for example. Nobody knows what's going on with that. There was a rumor the other day when all this came out with people saying, oh, that's going to be integrated into the James Gunn universe as well. And then James Gunn came out and said, no, it's not. It's probably going to be standalone. I don't understand what's going on. So they've already given themselves a tough task. Look how I got onto Batman so quickly. But they've already given themselves a tough task because now it's like, okay, so Batman is going to exist over here, meaning we're probably going to have to hire another Batman. Then there's two Batmans. And Henry Cavill just came back as Superman, but he's now out, so ignore that because we're going to go get another Superman. And given that Gadot, is that how you pronounce her name? I can't remember her name now. Anyway, given that she's not Wonder Woman anymore, then there's that. Plus Ben Affleck was Batman. It's just like, what? What are we doing? How have we got here? Especially when you pop over to Marvel, every single person has always had their distinct role, right? So whether it's Iron Man or it's Captain America or it's the Hulk, whoever. I mean, the Hulk was a bit crazy because obviously it was Ed Norton and it was that other guy, like the Australian dude, can't remember his name. Now we have Mark Ruffalo doing it. So that was kind of early growing pains for Marvel. And it kind of feels like to me that DC is still there, even though they've been doing this stuff. I mean, when did Man of Steel come out? Let's find out. Hey Google, when did the Man of Steel movie come out? I'm going to say 2011. 12th of June 2013, according to that in United Kingdom. All right, 10 years ago, and we still haven't had... I mean, Man of Steel was all right, but we haven't had a proper standalone Superman movie since then. Batman versus Superman doesn't count, especially because they fell out and then got back together over the fact that both their mothers are called Martha.
Kill Martha! What does that mean?
There are good elements in that thing, but ultimately... And then when we get to the Joker too, it's the same problem. Because we had... What's that crazy guy called that sings in that band? Why can't I remember anyone's name? Jared Leto, thank you. You had Jared Leto doing that bizarre portrayal, then Joaquin Phoenix comes in and he actually did a good job, but it's like, is this a DC film or is it not a DC film? Because it felt very separate from everything. So this thing, I mean, hopefully this serves as a catalyst, right? Hopefully it serves as a catalyst for us to actually make Superman, not the main guy, but the focal point of this entire project and get the whole thing back on track, because that is absolutely what James Gunn needs to do. And look, I think James Gunn makes terrific movies. Everything he did with Guardians of the Galaxy was top. The Suicide Squad was brilliant. I know it didn't do that well at the box office. He then took John Cena's Painmaker, whatever that dude is called. My brain isn't working today. It's too called. His name is not Painmaker. It's Peacemaker. He took Peacemaker and he made that a TV series with a tremendous intro. And you'd have to imagine that John Cena is going to be reincorporated into this. But again, all these ideas keep popping in my head. So let's say Harley Quinn's going to be in a movie. Is it Margot Robbie? Are we going to get Idris Elba back? Like, these are people that I actually thought did good in their roles. But then again, I thought Henry Cavill did good in his role. Or at least I never thought he was given the opportunity to actually shine within that Superman character. So it's all very wishy-washy and it's all very confusing. And again, there's 1,000 different rumors out there. And we don't really know. As ever, I'll make sure it flashes up the screen now. And Henry Cavill's Instagram post was very nice, where he talked about the fact that he's disappointed, but he get it. The character is still alive and all the values. And I'd be interested to see if he tries to get back on the Witcher project, because obviously Liam Hemsworth took that over. And I don't know whether Henry Cavill turned that down because he felt like he needed to dedicate more time to Superman. And it opens up the conversation about, does he become James Bond? But in the interview or the tweet, whatever it was that James Gunn did, he did say, had a great meeting with Henry Cavill, and there's other opportunities for him down the line. And that's cool if they want to cast him as a different character. Some people go crazy about this. You can't cast the same person as blah, blah, blah. Chris Evans did it. Chris Evans was in the Fantastic Four, and then he became Captain America. And did anybody care? No. I think they want to do the same thing with Jason Momoa. I think he's out as Aquaman. Oh, I saw this now. I can't remember. But they want to bring back him as a different character too. I don't think that's a problem. I think it all comes down to what we're doing overall. It's so easy to buy into characters as long as they're being presented to you in the way that you want. I mean, a great example of that is Robert Pattinson. On paper, if you had said to me, oh, he'll be a good Batman, I'd be like, oh, I don't 100% know. Like, I've never seen the Twilight films. But he did it, and he absolutely kicked ass at it. Like, that was really, really good, which is why I hope, no matter what, I think that's meant to be a trilogy. I'd like those 3 films, and then you can do whatever you want. I know some people are sick of serious, oh, Batman. I'll never be sick of serious, oh, Batman. Because I remember Batman and Robin. I remember Batman Forever, and I'm done with all that colourful shit. And again, all my favourite comics, graphic novels, are the serious ones. So one day they're going to make The Killing Joke. One day they're going to make The Killing Joke, and it's going to be the greatest movie ever made. I guess you could argue that maybe Joker was a bit like that, but not really. The real sad news, too, well, there's lots of sad news, is apparently they were actually going to make a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton back in the Batman role. Now, obviously, he was meant to be in Batgirl as Batman, and he was meant to be as a Flash as Batman. That Flash movie ain't ever coming out. Just type in Flash movie controversy. If other people aren't getting theirs roles back, there's no way DC is releasing that movie. So that was an absolute waste of time. But because of that, the knock-on effect is that Michael Keaton he's lost his cameos as Batman, which ultimately, apparently, I swear the treatment was green lit for basically him being old Batman. So he could have done Dark Knight Returns, whatever. I have wanted that movie for so long. I love Michael Keaton as Batman. Like, I love it. It makes weird things happen deep down in my tum-tum. So this is why DC need to get their ship together, because that project can still be there, right? It can still exist within the ether. He could even be incorporated into a future Justice League, because as we know in the story, sometimes they just time travel for the hell of it, or they go to different universes where Michael Keaton could be a Batman. And that's what we want. By the time we get to 2023, 2024, 2025, you want to be able to go, you watch this movie, which makes sense with that movie, and so on and so forth. Because Marvel are now on to like the C characters, right? They are making movies about the C characters, and people are still flocking to the cinema, because again, they want to see how it all links together. So I did think this was upsetting news. I would have liked Henry Cavill finally to have got a shot at it. But James Gunn's track record is very good. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that this is going to go somewhere where we want DC to go. Before anyone goes, meh, I like both. DC, Marvel. I mean, my favorite character growing up was always Batman. And I did read a lot of Superman. And then I read a lot of X-Men as well, right? So it doesn't matter. It's like Nintendo versus Sega. Or now Microsoft versus Sony. Who cares, man? I like Sony, PlayStation, because I want to play God of War. And I like Microsoft because Game Pass is the best thing ever. Also, Gears of War is on there. So basically, games called of War. Gears of War movie is coming out soon too. Everyone keeps saying Batista should play Marcus Phoenix. He should play Dominic Santiago. They look identical. Begs the question who would play Marcus Phoenix, but you could John Cena has to be bared. This is what I would do, right? John Cena has to be bared. I'd make Batista Dominic Santiago. Maybe The Rock could be Marcus Phoenix, because he's such a big name. And then Coltrane should be played by Peck Dancing Man. Honestly, Terry Crews. Why do I have to come up with some stupid descriptor today? That's a badass movie. If you make that movie, I will see it 10 times. So there you go. Who's making that movie? I don't even know. I mean, Microsoft have to be involved, obviously. I'm not sure who the producer or the studio is, but man, I'm doing my acting stuff at the moment. My new dream is to be just like a small role in that, even if it's just like random bald locust. Oh, Carmine. I'll be Carmine. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Best thing ever. You die in the first 3 seconds of the film, but it wouldn't even matter. Anyway, we'll shift that over here for now. He's out of Superman. Again, I've already put Zac Efron as Superman. Who looks young enough to play a young Superman and actually could embody that? Because you're going to have to be quite big. I mean, it would be someone like a Hemsworth from 10 years ago. That would be good. Before he stepped into the Thor role, he kind of ticked all of those boxes. So you want to find somebody like that. And I'm sure there will be somebody out there. I just can't think of it anymore. But hey, We've talked about it. Let's put it to bed. I appreciate you letting me go on these flights of fancy. And of course, the most important thing is get in those comments below and let's have a chat about it. What do you think about this? Who would you like to be the next Superman? Do you think the James Gunn thing is good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? I would love to chat about it. Also, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Hit the bell, ding, ding. So you know when other videos are going live. There's a video on the screen. Give it a click. You don't have to watch it. Just click it. That's all I ask. Grillamine.com/Simon. You go to Simon to get 10% off or 20% at the moment because it's the 12 days of Christmas. And if you spend over $120, you get entered into a free prize. Go to my Instagram at Simon316 where I'm posting these every single day and you can see what you could win, but use that code. It's massively important. Make sure you get that money off. Also on patreon.com/Simon316 doing holiday cameos right now. Just search for me on there. My t-shirts are handled by Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics. Make sure you use the links down there because that helps me out just a little bit. We've done social media, I think, at Simon316. And I believe that's everything. Most importantly, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you supporting my content. I look forward to talking to you again very soon, hopefully when there's a new flubbing Superman.